I love being with Mitt and Ann, but let me tell you, you people disappoint me on Tuesday. You don't do what you're supposed to do on Tuesday for Mitt Romney. I will be back, Jersey style, people. I will be back.
That, of course, Christie campaigning for Mitt Romney in Iowa last December, taking his Jersey style to the national stage. It's something he's been doing more and more of as his name turns up on most of the short list to be Mitt Romney's running mate. But as New Jersey's governor tries to position himself as America's governor, there are growing questions back home. What exactly is job one for Christie, running New Jersey or expanding his national profile? And Andrew, what has got people asking this question seemingly more often than even before?
It's a number of different things, Rich, taken all together, but they're all based on the idea that the governor's statements and actions, as you said, seem more geared to a VP run than, or even his own run for the White House in 2016 than on necessarily the day-to-day in the Garden State. One example today is Christie spoke alongside George W. Bush at an event in Manhattan.
And we'll have a bunch of people sitting on a couch waiting for their next government check.
It's a line and an attack on the welfare system, popular among conservative Republicans across America. But then there's Christie's embrace of what some people have called corporate welfare, more than $1.5 billion in corporate tax credits at a time when Jersey's slashing budgets for things like schools and police. And often the state has gotten little in return, like Prudential. They were given $250 million in tax credits for moving their offices a few blocks away in Newark. Then there's today's story in the New York Times that Christie exaggerated potential cost overruns for the planned ARC train tunnel under the Hudson, giving him the political leverage to cancel the project, despite the obvious benefits the tunnel would bring to the state. And it also gave Christie an issue on which to hammer the Obama administration and New Jersey Democrats. Suspicions about Christie's intentions and focus only growing last week when the governor traveled to Israel and Jordan ostensibly on an economic mission, though the trip's undisputed political purpose, Rich, was to beef up the governor's foreign policy credentials, something that would serve him well in a VP run or a presidential run 4 years from now.
Listen, Dick, I've said, Andrew and I have had this debate and other guys around the table, I think Christie would have been the Republicans' best chance this year. And I also further think that if he was picked as a running mate, he'd do the best, at least in the debates. That said, and we've gotten poll numbers here that show while his favorables are still more than his negatives, the gap's closing here. And his name most associated with words like what, Andrew? Bully, sensitive, yeah. Whatever. Is the act wearing thin, you think, or no?
It may be wearing thin to some people in New Jersey who see him a lot. I think his act nationally would still be very good on the Republican circuit. I think you're going to see him all through the fall. But that's what Christie tries to be. He says, that's me. This isn't an act. This is who I am, and that makes me the anti-politician. How long that would work? I don't think he's going to be the vice presidential candidate, although there are those in the Romney campaign say they're planning a surprise. The bottom line is, after what happened 4 years ago, the Republicans do not want any surprises in the vice presidential race. They want the most boring person you can find.
But if Christie is the VP nominee, or if he just plays the good soldier and goes from town to town stumping for Mitt Romney, he runs the risk of alienating voters in New Jersey, both the absentee landlord argument and also the sense that he's just not, you know,
and we were talking in the meeting, Andrew. He's up for re-election next year, and head-to-head, he's running behind right now both Cory Booker, right?
He's got lower favorables than Cory Booker. He's got lower favorables than Barack Obama does in the state of New Jersey. So he could be setting himself up for a difficulty next year for his own re-election bid if he gets too involved in the national scene. And of course, if he can't win re-election as governor, that hurts him down the road for 2016.
Republicans make a mistake if they don't pick him. For all the baggage, the guy, whatever you want to say, I almost said he's not a lightweight, but what I meant to say was the Sarah Palin thing, he's one of the sharpest guys. I mean, every time I've interviewed him, he likes a good fight, he relishes it, and he knows his stuff. That said, though, I think he should tend to matters back home a little bit.
Well, I think the other thing about him is that he knows, and he said it many times, do I look like a number two? I don't talk like a number two, I don't act like a number two. And if the guy you're potentially picking is saying that up front, I think that's a red flag.
But then remember the Hamlet on the Hudson, I don't know, I need a couple weeks here, and the FedEx package from the kid from Nebraska,
yeah,
and oh my God.
But anyway. The son, Andrew, he should take lessons from Andrew, who does not leave the state. A trip for him is going to Utica. Yeah. The guy never leaves.
And nor does he give us interviews either. But
well, that's true. That's true.